listening to this podcast episode, this is the green room. So this is all the, it seems like we're a little disheveled and we don't have like it all together. But yeah, for those on the video, you can tell we are totally together. Like we look professional.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Everything's all
yeah.
here. I haven't left the mic to go get my prop.
We're
Um,
warmed up. We're warming up. Almost warmed up. But yeah.
we're warmed up. We're warming up.
Well,
This is
I mean, you
this is the
could,
warm up.
if you want to
For
go
those
get
who
the
have been
prop,
long
though.
long term listeners to the show,
Yeah.
no, it's all right. Yeah. Long term listeners to the show, the green room wasn't even a part of the game. So
True. True. Yeah, we haven't had. I don't know if you can hear the dogs, but the dogs apparently disagree with you. But
we have not
hopefully,
heard Kurt's dogs in a while.
the these
Where's the howling?
Riverside, our
That's
recording
that's
software.
even
What? Can you hear the dogs?
that's howling. That's
Oh,
oh
you
yeah.
can?
That's
Because I
that's
was
not even like oh yeah.
I was gonna give kudos to the software for
Ooh.
filtering it out, but I guess that's not happening. Well, so before we go
Oh
into
no,
the
full on.
show, so yeah, well,
Yes.
I'm gonna ignore. I'm gonna do what I do best is ignore the dogs, and then
Yeah.
go into a subject matter. It might be a little prickly to Jamie, but the Winter Olympics have have wrapped up the the first part of the games. The Paralympics, I believe, is starting or started. So there's that coming soon. But uh, you know,
Are we going to talk about Italy? Are we going to talk about Italy? Is that what you're talking about here? Where are we
well,
going?
yeah. Well, we're going to talk about Italian ice in the sense that
Ooh.
the USA women's and men's hockey teams defeated Canada. If you pronounce it como Baboni, Canada is was defeated by USA men and women, but in very different fashion. I watched a little bit of the women's game. Man, the breakaway goal, both I think what wound up in overtime, right?
Yes, thank you.
And
Thank you. So let's
so
let's
it
not
was a
let's
tight
let's
tight
not
match,
set this
tight
up.
match. It wasn't a blowaway.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
No. Clearly not, right?
yeah.
Talking
It was like the
overtime.
destiny. It was destiny for both teams to convene on the medal round.
To me,
Yeah,
oh, dude, like in the prelims, we knew. Like we
yeah,
knew that we knew this was going to be the matchup in the finals for both.
yeah, yeah.
I think, on the women's side, absolutely. And I think the thing as a Canadian, who's also an American, so a Canadian American, such as myself, who, this is that one time of year. It's not, but it's one of those extra times of year that I get a lot of extra messages from cousins who are I mean, well, and what's funny is, Americans don't sometimes realize this, but if you're watching the sports, right, in Canada, like it's really close, folks. It's really close to us, right? They're just there, up there on the map, on Kurt's map. Kurt's map, that's like right there,
Well, no,
right?
technically,
So,
the closest point to Canada is down here, but
well, yeah, there's that part too. Yes, but
also up. Yeah.
and
Good
those
point.
who are not seeing this and only hearing it, we were pulling up the mittens and we were
Yeah,
doing the Michigander thing.
the Michigan mitten.
But all to say, yeah, all to say is that in Canada, when you're watching the sports, um, it's coming from a Canadian angle. The lens is not all on the U.S. sports, so it's not all curated. Where the U.S. is sort of the protagonist, right? The
Uh,
the the main, not the main character energy, right? So in Canada, it's actually Canada, right? And so there, admittedly, on the women's side, there was a little bit of concern, right? Because the Canadian women, had a little bit of a they did well, but they weren't clearly playing up to their potential, and their captain was injured. So
Mm.
in the prelim rounds, and when they met the U.S. the first time around, their captain was not able to play. Now, she was able to play in the final, which was sort of expected as they kind of moved through the tournament. But as you said, two amazing, women's hockey teams, just both of them, and they definitely, that final was fantastic. But the U.S. did prevail, and I think from a um, perspective of how those teams were assembled for this tournament, Canada was relying on kind of the experience of other teams that they've had in the past, and sort of a deep bench, but also sort of a veteran bench. And the US was sort of a little bit of a flip, where they did have those veteran leadership, and which definitely showed up in that third period and beyond. But they had the youth, right? They have a whole new generation, and I think that that's the exciting sort of takeaway for the women's hockey on the US side is, you know, looking 4 years ahead, they're going to be like, they are already the team to beat.
Watch out. Yeah. Well, the goal that sealed the deal was just so, the camera angle picked it up so well. I mean, just so like amazing talent. Like, I mean, I grew up in Connecticut, right? I used to ice skate. I've never played hockey. I think I grabbed my friend's stick once in a while and I tried to like maneuver ice skates and a stick. That's a whole other, and you played a little hockey, right? In your day, right? That's a whole other talent to
Never, only ball hockey for me. I mean, I'm not an
oh,
ice
okay.
skater. I'm not very
Still
good.
though. I mean, oh my God,
Yeah.
trying to stay upright. And so anyway, so the U.S. women, and which I believe, if you could remind me her name, I should have pulled up my notes. Is a Michigander, the goal scorer, right? The one who scored. I'm gonna totally blank on the name now. It's from Michigan, from the great state of Michigan, which I think almost like 80% of the both men's and women's teams are from the Michigan area.
Or Canada.
Well, yeah, but you're our friends. We're friends. Either down this way toward Windsor, or up here, in the Upper Peninsula. I gotta turn my hand around. The Upper Peninsula.
Oh, you're
and beyond.
doing the UP now. Okay.
Well, we got that territory.
No, I think if I had known this is the direction you were going for the green room, we could have done a fun cutaway where I tried to get my dad on the podcast, which would be entertainment for days. And he could talk the hockey for us. But yeah, admittedly, he's been in heaven with like women's hockey and men's hockey, multiple games over the last 2 weeks. I mean, it's just like he's basically had sports wall to wall it's been great. And his two teams get to meet in both finals. But yeah, he's I've definitely heard a fair earful of all the things.
Yeah, well, and now you drag this little green room bit out a little longer to now I've recalled one more U.S. Canadian memory. Actually, it was not a U.S. Canadian match, I don't think. But unfortunately for the Canadians, there was an incident on the curling rink where
don't even go there.
Some cheating might have occurred.
I'm not sure it was cheating, but
Curling, another sport which apparently
It did.
dominated the airwaves of the Olympics this winter. Which is, I'm not opposed. Some people I think
All
were
I
just
know
maybe
is
a
that
little, but
at some point, yeah, at some point there was a couple Winter Olympics ago that curling again kind of captivated people's imaginations, and at which point one of my cousins said, your aunt used to do curling, weekly or whatever, and I was like, what? It's like not some. I mean, all of my cousins were figure skaters or hockey players. Some of them were coaches. One of them, anyways, it's in the blood. It's Canadian. It's all the things.
yeah, I'm not
I
gonna.
did not expect you to go to the curling story, but I did expect you to bring up the men's hockey debacle. And
Yeah. I guess
you
I
know,
should. Yeah, we were debating whether we go
and
down
there's
that road.
lots
But
of
yeah.
layers. There's layers to that debacle, which is kind of funny. Not funny. It's kind of sad actually, because again, U.S. men, win over Canada again in overtime, and you know, it was exciting all the way to the end. The MVP of the tournament ends up being a Canadian, right? So Connor McDavid gets to be Olympic MVP for the men's tournament on that side. Um, Not that that means much when you get the silver medal, but hey, props. Um, but I think that the sad part is, as much as that was a definite milestone for the U.S. men's, hockey program, the U.S. women's hockey program has been, right where it needs to be, and clearly set a whole new bar, even for themselves. But the men, they hadn't achieved what they did this time in like over, well, gosh, like 40 years, right? I mean,
46
whatever it
years.
was. Um,
1980.
yeah. So,
The Miracle on Ice, right?
so, uh, yeah. And before that, it was 1960. So, I think that amazing accomplishment, unfortunately, overshadowed minutes later in the locker room,
Oh
right?
yeah,
And I think that that's the
terrible.
whole, and I think that that's the sad part for those, you know, you know, for people in that moment, you know, it's about the achievement on the ice. It is not about being a political prop. Um,
Yeah.
and that's just, I feel in that case, it's, it's you, yeah. I mean, how do you wrap your head around, a situation like that? It's for those players that are basically put into a situation that's a no-win situation for them, right? Um, and and then they didn't handle it well, right?
Yeah.
So in a no-win situation, and
And
then
then botched
choose your own adventure. Yeah,
it. You
they
chose
took the wrong way,
poorly.
right? And so
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
you chose poorly.
yeah,
You just won a gold medal, and now your whole gold medal is also remembered with an asterisk, and yeah. Anyhow,
yeah.
I just
Well, on
um,
to
but
save the day, though, our one of our
right,
favorite uh, mutual musical artists, Public Enemy. Uh, so one half of the duo. So there's Chuck D and Flavor Flav, the hype man. Flavor Flav comes out and says, "You know what? I'll invite the U.S. women's hockey team to Las Vegas, and I'll throw them a party." And then he said, "I bet I could get some support from the audience, essentially, and out in the social media sphere. He gets flights covered, and he gets hotel covered, and he gets spa treatment covered, and he gets concert tickets covered." And then I believe he's also extended that invitation to all the female athletes that are medal winners, uh, and not just the hockey team, which is then even bigger party. And it's just so exciting that, like, without batting an eye. And actually, I think Flavor Flav is. I think NPR had him on an interview today, and I think he even without any of that, he was already a supporter, like a sponsor, a financial supporter of U.S. women's Olympic sports. Right? Like as a fan, right?
And not just winter sports,
Right.
sports, summer
Right.
sports. He's been doing this over, like, this isn't like,
Yes.
this isn't
It's not a
finding the
today
moment
thing.
and then
Yeah.
stepping into it. No, it's not a today thing. This is like, I've decided this is important thing. And it's Flavor Flav. I mean, how can you not have the hype man do what he does? So
I think
I think
I would honestly venture to guess that party is going to be a lot more fun than what happened last night in the Capitol Hill.
Did you see the sad McDonald's that they got served?
McDonald's. I'm sure it was sad. Oh man. Anyway, we don't have to.
McDonald's is not a sponsor of this program.
No. No. But I mean,
when was the last time? When was the last time you had McDonald's, Kurt? Do you know?
Well, it does happen. It's not
I forgot. And I forgot you do have the
in a pinch on the road. Sometimes it happens. It's been this month.
Yeah. It's good thing that Danielle does not listen to this podcast.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. My health guru.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So on that note, are you ready for
let's just move on?
Episode?
Yeah, let's just move on.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Jamie. I just All right. Hey, Jamie. How are you doing?
Good. 195.
Welcome to 195. We're near 200, in which we have some special plans in the making. So, but we're not going to talk about them just yet.
Yes, for those who are listening, who are expecting to hear from us, it's still in the works. Yes.
200 episodes is still, I can't really wrap my head around it, even though we're at 195, which is still a nice feat. But anyway, it's been fun, Jamie. I'm having fun. I'm still having fun.
I mean, do you remember?
Do I remember what?
I mean, do you remember when we were the tribute for those other guys when they hit their 300 milestone?
Oh yeah.
And then they pushed us into the pit in Sparta.
The abyss. Yeah. Or the yeah. So now we're getting close. Now we have to turn around and return the favor to someone else, right?
No, we're not pushing it. We're not pushing anybody in any pits. There's no pits. There's no pits.
Oh, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Okay, fair.
No, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to work that way, Kurt. We can be kinder and gentler and nicer and
breaker of chains. Breaker of chains.
Yes.
Yeah, I do still see Cormac from time to time on campus, and so I'll remind him.
And you kick him in the shins?
No. I let him use my office, in my campus office. Ooh. So I'm playing nice in the sandbox.
So he's like a squatter? Is he like a squatter in your office?
He did squat. He asked permission though.
Mm.
He needed some private, talk to consultants space, right before class, which is fair. Which some of our students that are watching or listening, they probably would understand.
Now they know where he's hiding. They know where he's hiding. They know he's hiding in there.
Yeah, too late. Yeah, the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
So Jamie, what is what's you know what though? We're recording this. Oh, it's now 2 days after Twin Peaks Day. I saw your post.
Yes.
And which was fun because you put the soundtrack on the post. There's something about the soundtrack to that show, the opening credits soundtrack, that just gets you, like just sucks you in.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to make sure I acknowledge that, because obviously, this is the point of the conversation where we talk about coffee. Can't avoid talking about coffee, or in the same breath of Twin Peaks, the double R, Twin Peaks Day just passed, right? So here we are. Did you celebrate with anything in particular?
I mean, you got to give yourself to get a gift every little day, So
nice.
Coffee.
A damn fine cup of coffee.
Yeah. So on the coffee front, a damn fine cup of coffee, black, like on a moonless night. But I think I might have gone wrong. I might have got. We have talked about this before, that sometimes, you wonder about stores and being sucked in, like, who's the sucker who sees something on like that front end cap and goes, oh man, that looks good, and it's like, in merchandising, and sort of all that kind of retail, marketing guru kind of stuff. There's people in rooms with string and thoughts. I saw it. I was getting coffee. I normally, there's a Starbucks near me. It's part of my morning routine. If I'm running a little bit late, I get my Starbucks. Even when I'm not running late, it's sort of a nice sort of, it's part of the routine, right? And I'm there and I'm thinking, oh, I'm there for an extra minute. And I look and I'm like, oh, that end cap. What's that? That's an interesting bag. It's purple. Like, you never see purple bags at Starbucks. What's this purple bag? And so then I go over and I'm still waiting for my, and I look and it's vanilla and lavender. And I'm like, I've never seen that before. That sounds interesting, unique even. So I was like, I'll get a bag. It is unique. I'm not sure I'm getting it again. But I'm powering through it.
Thanks for sharing. It's not all wins around here. Sometimes you got to take an L.
Sometimes
Unfortunately for Canada, Jamie's just adding to the L's, the L column.
Yeah. It's not been a good week. Well, and what's crazy is, because part of the coffee experience is also the smell, right? So you brew it and then you smell, or if you grind it, that's great. You brew it, that's great. It smells fantastic. I mean, you were talking about spa experience before. It kind of smells like a spa, right? I'm like,
I hate that. It sounds worse when it smells inviting and taste. Pass.
It's
that
just
sucks.
it's and it's not.
That's a letdown.
It's not terrible, but it's a definite letdown. Yeah.
That's a bummer.
What about yourself?
Well, let's see. from the last time we talked, we are on I believe, a dark roast from our friends at Aldi, actually. Do you have Aldi
Really?
down in Texas?
Yeah, but they're kind of sketchy.
Really? What? That's interesting. It's apparently a German company, right? And I believe they also own
H-E-B.
Trader Joe's. Oh yeah,
Well, maybe
H-E-B.
they
I
have
heard that.
H-E-B.
I've heard of
H-E-B
those.
is like,
We don't have that up here.
yeah,
No.
no.
Are they part of the same conglomerate? I wouldn't say that this is
Of
exceptional coffee of Aldi. Are they under the umbrella?
H-E-B?
The
No.
HEBs? No, it's its
Oh,
own
God,
thing.
no. No,
Okay.
no. H-E-B is a Texan thing. Yeah.
Well, look at us trying to be corporate moguls over here, but
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I caved. I had
Heeb.
I've heard of it. I've heard of it. It's a thing, but just like many things in Texas, they all have to be a thing.
Mhm.
They just can't be without being out
No.
there.
Mm.
Anyway, yeah, I don't have much to report from my end of the bargain here on coffee. I'm looking. I will say I've seen some things. This is sort of the educational moment, I suppose, the enlightenment moment. I've seen some things on social media from more traditional Puerto Rican vendors. I'm really excited. I will probably try and acquire some. But like I mentioned on one of our previous recordings, Cafe Bustelo, right, which you can find in the supermarket, is claims to be Puerto Rican, but is probably more American, or let's say stateside, because Puerto Rico's America. It's more of a branding thing than it actually is a regional thing. But then I found a roaster in Puerto Rico that I want to get some coffee from. A more local, small batch kind of roaster that I'm very excited about. So that's my
Have you reached out to them?
Not yet.
Have you reached out to them and said, "Hey, I have a podcast about coffee"?
Not yet, but that sounds like a plan.
This is part of the show, folks, where like you see how Jamie throws I'm trying to it's like trying to get the paper airplane to land like on Kurt's head.
Right here.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that was luckily that bag is now gone. We won't revisit that, but we're going to look forward to some more traditional and local, as we like to do around here. So that's that. So that's our coffee.
I'm going to get me some Grackle. When this bag's gone, I've already decided.
So. I do like the Grackle too, my friend. So hint, nod.
Yep.
Although I do have some, we still have some of our own podcast coffee available. There's a few bags.
I know,
left.
but that's like
limited
that's for
supply.
That's like end of days stuff, dude. Don't tell anybody. That's like Y2K stash.
I wonder what the shelf life is actually. It's sealed up, but I'm still nervous. Oh, Jamie, one thing for some of the students that are listening, there is a little bit of interest stirring over the T-shirts that we've made for the podcast, and I told
the new ones, the old ones.
Well, I asked, and I reminded
or the
that
one that may be coming.
There's a few iterations, and so what I offered, I don't know. I guess I could say it online. Because I'm teaching some of these people currently, I don't want to profit off of them. So I've offered to acquire them at cost for our student friends, right? Because I don't want to do it for profit. And so I'm going to let them choose.
This is like a public service announcement.
It's
This
the
is
PSA.
a public service announcement from Kurt. Yeah,
It's
on the record. Kurt's on the record now,
well,
folks.
Jamie, are you a profiteer? Do you want to take their money?
No. No.
Is this going to be a debate? Is the so anyway?
No,
there
it's
you know,
not.
we have a
No, there's
we have a few versions, and so there's interest, and so now I'm going to go collect a little bit of a checklist of how many to we might get a selfie, a group picture of everybody wearing the t-shirt. So anyway, just
smart.
Figured you ought to know, since you're
no. I mean, there's lots of things. Yeah, the gears are already spinning. So
yeah, we have a new conference coming up for the AI this coming June. So there's always it's a chance to create a new version of merch. So you ready for the sketch now?
Yes.
Is that where we're going?
Yes. This is where Kurt's curatorial maestroness comes into play.
Maestroness. I try. I'm always trying. Let's hide that. So Jamie's, yeah, I guess I'm the curator 99.5% of the time, and Jamie's the creator of the sketches 99.5% of the time. And so we're still within February, and we haven't done a great deal of Black History Month conversation. We typically do every year, celebrate great architects, great buildings, great instigators, and public voices. And Jamie, so I got to choose, and I picked this sketch from Jamie's recent post, and I'm a little, let's say, biased, I suppose, because it's Paul Revere Williams, who is a fellow USC Trojan alum. And so the lower portion, I don't know if we'll get to talking about the upper portion of his sketchbook, but the lower portion is of a residence designed by Paul Revere Williams in LA, where he based his practice, and was a great mid-century architect. I mean, I guess the short Cliff Note version is that, as a Black American architect, Paul Revere Williams was not as celebrated during his career as, say, like many of maybe his contemporaries, but his work was exemplary. And then in after his passing, right, in posthumous condition, his projects withstood the test of time, the challenges of let's say style change, and what would you say, as we moved away from mid-century and moved on to other postmodern and modern and other architectural styles. But in Southern California, the mid-century architectural style is pretty strong. It carries through, and then there's a great deal of respect for buildings that do stand the test of time. And then in your post for this particular sketch, you sort of allude back to 2017 when we were at the AI National Convention, where posthumously Paul Revere Williams received the AIA Gold Medal, which is really exciting. And again, for me as a fellow Trojan, always very exciting see Trojans win things. And to receive the award was his granddaughter, who actually went to Stanford, but we won't talk about that too much. But I got to talk to her. That's how I found out she went to Stanford. Is I got to walk up to her. I said, "Hey, you know, I went to USC too, and I've always been proud of Paul Revere Williams because as a USC student, we never forgot the fact that he was one of us and designed a lot of great buildings in and around the Southern California region. And so to see, see him celebrated back in 2017, and for you to sketch this to remind us of that point in time is always fun. I can always talk about it, right? Because it's a
Well,
joyous
no,
sort
and
of
it was,
state.
I mean, well, and you mentioned talking to his granddaughter, and and I think that it was, um, I was there with you when you did that, but it was, I don't know how we get in the room on some of this stuff that we get in the room on, um, but that whole exchange where um, she was able to speak and other family members were able to speak about him and his career and his impact. And if you recall, they I don't even know if it was like intentional on their part, but there was an empty chair like at the sort of the front of the room when all this kind of conversation was going on and presentation of him. Um, and for whatever reason, it just that that image sort of is indelible in my mind of the because it is awkward when you have these individuals of this stature like you're describing who have work that's on the National Register, who a lot of times he's referred to as the architect of Hollywood,
Mhm.
because of the amount of Hollywood actors and actresses that he did homes for during that time period. And so he was an architect of note, especially in Southern California. And so you have that sort of as the backdrop, but because he was a Black American, his career wasn't sort of highlighted in the way, nationally, that it should have been. And I think in the moment that he's being recognized by, the National Architecture Association, with its highest honor, its gold medal, um, just kind of the room and the way that it was sort of set up, and I don't even think it was intentional, right? I think it just sort of, for whatever reason, it felt a little bit. Um, it just stuck with me, that
Mhm.
here you have these individuals who are not with us anymore. Their works are. They weren't recognized necessarily the way they should have been in their lifetime, but at least fortunately they have been recognized. But that's still not necessarily always good enough, right? There's still that tinge of, you know, give them their flowers when they're here. And but anyhow, all that to say is the fact that you were able to have that conversation and sort of share in that moment, um, as an alum too. I know that meant really something special for you. Um, I think the way you know, as I got to know his work, um, and have over the last many years now that especially as we've talked about it and sort of shared your experience and kind of memories of some of the things that you had as an architect growing up in Southern California. What was interesting to me was, I thought, oh wow, architect to Hollywood, actresses and actors. And when you start to look at the list, of who some of those individuals were, some of the residences I had seen, and like I'd see the image and go, "Oh yeah, I remember that. That's Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball," you know. And but always on that list was Frank Sinatra,
Mhm.
and I was like, I don't know what his house looked like. And so I was doing a little bit of reading kind of this month, and when I kind of clicked through that, my brain goes, I need to look that up. I need to look up what that the image of that house is. And so went did a little, deep dive rabbit hole, And it was a very interesting kind of exploration of him doing this fairly modest mid-century modern kind of ranch style, um, kind of low slung home that had, commanding view in sort of the Hollywood Hills, and it all, very classic mid-century kind of features. But in reading some of the articles about this house, this was, I think Frank was in between marriages or something like that, so he was sort of playing this up as his bachelor pad.
Mm.
They talk about this. They talk about this house with the amount of technology that was put into it, and some of the kind of the fun features with televisions and movie screens and kind of entertainment areas, for guests and whatnot. But apparently, right after this home was built, um, he had like 60 Minutes or something, kind of, he had the press kind of come through the home, and and he talked about all these types of things as well as his architect. He was just, I mean, you know, who it was and how special it was, and but yeah, again, even at that time, I don't think everybody sort of put two and two together about kind of you know, what that meant, and who those that through line of the architect and the style and the work and the portfolio, as you described it. But so it was fun for me to find images of this house and sort of and read a little bit more. There's a small kind of video of the interview as well that you can find on YouTube. Um, but yeah, it's a great project. Unfortunately, lost in 2006.
Oh.
And you know, yeah, but house 1956. So this was clearly right in that sort of mid-century, kind of before the Atomic Ranch kind of stuff, but sort of bordering on that from the 60s.
Yeah. Well, and while this particular design was demolished in '06, there's still a great many of his projects that still live, or still exist. And it reminds me. Well, I have a question for you. I don't know. Have you ever passed through Palm Springs area in the desert east of Los Angeles? Have you ever gone through that
Yes.
little mid-century time capsule? Yeah. Okay,
Mhm.
that's good. Um, and we could circle back to that in a
Yes.
second. But what also that your sketch is reminding me of, and the sort of the experience we had meeting Paul Revere Williams' granddaughter to receive the gold medal is, you know, for those that aren't deep as deeply intertwined with AI as Jamie and I are, um, you know, it's not necessarily one person or a group that sort of plucks the winner every year. Many nominations are made, and then the nominations need to be backed up with a lot of evidence. And the granddaughter has been kind of like the historian of Paul Revere Williams' career to make sure that that was not lost, right? So the history, which I think was the most touching part of the whole celebration, was her diligence toward um, checking references and making citations and making sure that the buildings that he was involved with were not he was not erased from as a participant, as the architect, either in part or in whole. Which also reminds me of our friends Sandra and Karen, who run the design noir party, or noir design party. I always get the wording a little bit forward backward, but here locally, based in Detroit, celebrating Black architects. They started off in the Midwest, and now they're expanding and capturing um, you know uh, history of famous and what's the inspirational there's another word I'm trying to think of, as far as the canon of architecture designed by Black architects. They call them the trailblazers, right? The ones that really set the path
Right.
for people. And
Well, and capturing the oral histories of the
Yeah.
folks that are still living. They're sort of to what we were saying before is, it's important to recognize the individuals involved in the projects and that they aren't erased, but then that the ones that are still here, that they're able to tell a piece of their story. And so both of them, Sandra and Karen, have definitely really focused on that. And I think that that's been very, very clear in their work, but then sort of expanding it out and recognizing others who are sort of dabbling in that space. And I believe that there was an event at Lawrence Tech recently where they were able to moderate some other folks who were sort of speaking on that subject, which is great. I mean, it recognizes them as thought leaders in that space, but then also that there's a lot of work still to be done. And it definitely aligns. You're absolutely right. Definitely aligns with our experience in 2017. Yeah, we were in Orlando, right? Weren't we? When we got to see all that in person?
Yep. Orlando. I was actually thinking about the past few years. I think 18 was in Las Vegas, 17 was in Orlando. Yeah.
No, 18 was New York, buddy.
Oh, so when was 19 was Las Vegas? Is that right? Anyway, we don't need to go all down.
Yeah.
Try and recall everything, but
it's like a lost year.
Well, no, yeah. Well, funny
lost year.
So funnily enough, the actual lost year was 2020, in which we were going to be in Los Angeles, which was exciting for me as the one that studied there, because I was really hoping to bring you and Clarice, some of our friends, on my own sort of tour around town. Starting with the landing at LAX, right? If you land at the LAX airport, the big odd looking structure right in the middle of the airport was designed by Paul Revere Williams, which was called what is the name they give it? It started off as a restaurant, and now I think they call it the God, do you remember the name of this thing? It's oh my God, I can't believe I forgot. It'll come back.
But I was excited.
It's sort of
drawn it.
If you're familiar with Googie architecture, it kind of fits in with that. It's sort of an offshoot from mid-century, sort of a spectacle type of object building. I always kind of attribute it. Whenever I would fly in and out of LA, I would always love to look at that, landmark on the site of the airport, and it kind of felt like the Jetsons, right? Like it's so futuristic of a building, and it had the Jetsons vibe going on with it, and it was designed back in the 60s, I think. We'll have to check dates and stuff like that, but it's a Paul Revere Williams. So that's like the starting point of the tour, right? Is the oh my God, it's right on the tip of my tongue. The name of this building. It's not the Adventure Building. What is it called? It has. You don't remember this? Remember the name, do you? I'm looking at you.
No,
trying to get you to tell me the answer.
I will say there was a lot of promises made in 2020 leading up to March, when both of us realized, shit, man, I don't think the conference is going to happen.
Oh man, it was like a house of cards that was just falling in slow motion. As we got closer to June, it was like, yeah, this is not happening. What a
and yet
bummer.
this year we get to go close. We're LA adjacent.
We're back. San Diego.
We're gonna go to San Diego. So
yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if I will pay for a tour of the Salk Institute or just go by myself. But that's actually closer.
You and I are going to get an Uber, and we're going to go. Yeah, you and I are getting an Uber, and we're going to the Salk.
Yeah. Have you been?
We're not paying for a tour. No, I've not been.
Oh, really? I obviously we went as students, and yeah, it's striking. It is a thing. I mean, but yeah, so we'll be in Southern California. Yeah, right.
I got the Kimball in Fort Worth. So,
which is on my list, right? Yeah. So
yeah,
I need to do a Texas tour. You know, we keep talking about it in theory, but I do need to do a bit of a Texas tour. Just because the Kimball is high on the list.
Oh, just because of the Kimball, not because your best friend is like living in like Austin, but that's okay. You know, that's okay.
Yeah. Well, so, well, now you got me all thrown off, Jamie. I can't believe you.
I know.
But
so
the sketch.
But I'm glad that I'm glad the sketch.
Oh,
I'm glad
go ahead.
it evoked all these sort of thoughts of your love for Southern California and Paul Revere Williams' work. So.
Yeah, no, it's a great one to recap, and I'll try and we make sure I can publish this before the end of the month and capture the very tail end of Black History Month. But yeah, no thanks. It was fun. Yeah,
2 days.
It's a tall order. But yeah, no thanks. It was fun. It was a good reminiscing kind of conversation, and also we're looking forward to San Diego in June, because there's more architecture to talk about and think about and go visit. So thank you, sir.
Thanks.